Okay, we're continuing with quotes in alphabetical order. This is Rodney Stark. Rodney Stark is a very good historian. He writes a lot about Christian history, even though he's not a Christian. His experience was he was a sociologist, and he just came across Christian history, and it was so extraordinary he kept writing about it. Because that's what happens is, when you're in regular schools, you kind of get taught that, all the religions are the same, this multicultural nonsense. But when you start to actually study history, you're like, holy crap. Almost everything good comes from the Catholic Church. I don't say that just because I'm a Catholic. It's true. The foundation of Western civilization was the ancient Greeks. That's the most important thing. And then, of course, the Old Testament and the Romans. But the big unique thing was the ancient Greeks. All of our words for thinking, empirical, stoic, skeptical, cynic, analysis, all that stuff comes from the Greeks. The Greeks were the ones that really started to think in a sophisticated way. Almost every country in the ancient world is always the same. And most countries in the modern world too. There's a brutal dictator that says, do as I say or I'll kick your butt. Okay? And let's get enough money and power that we can beat the crap out of our neighbor, then let's go kick their butt and steal all their stuff. That's basically human societies, okay? Christianity was unique in all of these ideas about all men are equal in the eyes of God. That which you do to the least of my brother, you do unto me. We are created in the image of God, therefore we are part divine as well as part beast. Our God is a rational God such that his universe is rational and we can understand it if we study it. To study it, we praise him. Okay, so all of this led to science. Okay, so anyways, here's a couple quotes from Rodney Stark. So actually, here's one of his books, Bearing False Witness. He talks about unfair criticisms of the Catholic Church. And then how the West was won. He talks about why did the West dominate the world. The reason it dominated the world is because there's smart people everywhere, but it dominated the world because the Christian worldview made people want to study. If you think that, like in India, they had this concept of Maya, everything was unknowable, Buddhism or something, sit on your butt and say Om and look at the wall. You're not going to achieve much scientifically. The Mandarins in China felt that manual labor was beneath them and that they did not need ocean travel, and they stole away inventions in iron metallurgy. They stole and destroyed the ocean-going boats. I think it was Chen Ho or something. He had made some great boats. And what I'm trying to say is they don't let anybody do anything. That's pretty typical in a tyranny, is that the rulers just steal intellectual property away from the inventor. So pretty people say, oh, screw it, I'm not going to try to invent anything. You won't let me keep my business, you won't let me keep my invention, so screw it, I'm not going to try to do anything. And that's how most places are. Okay, so here's Rodney Stark. He says, there are no theologians in the East. Oh, another thing too is I want to make the point is, these Eastern culture things, they're not religions. Buddhism is not a religion. Buddha was a guy, he's not a god. Okay, Confucius, he was this bureaucrat, he's not a god. All right. Hinduism, is mostly atheism. This guy Vishu Mangalwadi, okay, Vishal Mangalwadi. That's what he wrote. He says India, it's atheism. Okay, it's not religion. Anyways, Russia, Soviet Union, they don't have religion. You get in trouble for being a Christian. They destroyed Christianity. All right, and that's why they went into the garbage can in terms of their cultural output. Christian just creates everything beautiful. It all comes from Christianity. The literature, the art, the painting, the sculpture, the architecture. Like a fruit tree makes fruit, Christians make beautiful, good things. It's just a fact. Don't take my word for it. Study the historical record. You will see this as a fact. Okay, there are no theologians in the East. Christian women had it much better than Roman women. Yeah, that's another thing. I always laugh when people say, oh, intolerance, unfair to women. Women never have it better than they do with Roman Catholic Church. Mary's the Queen of Heaven. Okay, there's lots of female saints. You got to be nice to your wife in Christianity. Okay, before Christ came along, the wife commits adultery, you stone her to death. Nowadays, though, it's outrageous, and it's not because anybody cares about women. It's just because they want to destroy the country. Nowadays, a woman cheats on her husband, and she gets to keep the house and the kids, and he has to still give her money. That's ridiculous. That's gone too far the other way. But it's gone the other way not because they like women, just because they want to destroy society. So that's why it is the way it is now. And this is only a short-term thing. Slavery is coming back, okay, in a big way, like a tsunami. All right. But in ancient Rome, the Christian women loved it because in Rome, before Christianity, the husband could just dump her, his wife, divorce her, throw her in the gutter, and then he's a free man to do whatever he wants. He didn't have to give her any money or anything. And in Romans didn't have any concept of help the poor. The poor were scum. They can die. Who cares? Feed them to the dogs. Versus Christianity is like all men are equal in the eyes of God. We should, that what you do to the least of my brethren. We have to help making homeless shelters, making the first hospitals, making the first universities. All that's from the Catholic Church. Pagan tradition had no concept of helping the poor. Nothing about social service. Nothing about the sanctity of life. Okay. In Rome, the men now were not supposed to cheat on their wives, not supposed to divorce them. So the Bible and Christianity were super pro-female. And, the ancient Greeks are like, women are stupid. Get in the kitchen and shut up. Okay. Other religions too. Put them in a veil. Don't let them go outside. Okay. Christianity gives them way more leeway, freedom, and respect than other ways of doing things back in the day. Okay, Christianity began in the city, and pagan kind of means a little bit like country person. Pagano, like a country person. The modern scientific method was started by ordained Roman Catholic men, and was also carried, then later on it was carried on by devout Protestant men as well, of course, like Isaac Newton. He spent more time reading the Bible than he did doing science. Rodney Stark says, we have science because of Christianity. The assumption that the world could be understood was unique to the West, compared with Asia and India and others who thought the world could not be understood. Universities started about 10,000 to 1,100 and were entirely founded by the Roman Catholic Church in Europe. Oh, and then he also makes the point that why is it that Rome never had an industrial revolution? Because it was running on slave labor. If you've got ubiquitous slave labor, there's no incentive to pursue technological efficiency. Like, after the Roman Empire fell, that's when they started making all these inventions with the water wheels and the windmills, because they no longer had all the slave labor. Christianity puts an end to slavery. In the countries that are Christian, slavery is gone. In the countries that are not Christian, most of them still have slavery. In India, they got the caste system. In Muslim countries, they still got slaves. In Africa, they still got slaves. Okay. And everybody bitches about the Western Christian countries, but then everybody wants to go to them. Nobody wants to move away. Nobody wants to move to the non-Christian country. Also, Christianity is like nice to everybody, whatever color or skin they are or wherever they're from, versus most other places are like, get the F out of here. Japan is for the Japanese, or whatever other country it is. It's like, this country's for us, it's not for you. So there's nothing as tolerant as Christianity, okay? All right, now Rodney Stark continues. He says, let's see. He said, a serf is not a slave. There was serfdom. A serf can marry whoever they want. Serfs are just poor. And gradually, Christianity developed, the Roman Catholic Church developed capitalism with all its trading coming out of the papacy. And it later developed international law with its Christian missionaries going all over the world. Okay. He said other countries, the rulers also blocked innovation, like the Mandarins in China, the pharaohs in Egypt, because they felt threatened by it. And the Mandarins felt manual labor was degrading. That's why they grew their fingers so long to show that they would not do manual labor. Anyways, that's it for our quotes from Rodney Stark for today. Hope you found that interesting.